we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado, this is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
Welcome into another episode of Discussion Combustion Podcast.
Hope everyone had a fantastic 4th of July weekend. I know we had a good time celebrating Independence Day with our good friend Mike Patchen up in the hills there. I want to start this one off, Art, with some heavy hearts. Our good friend Jamie Roehrich is going through a tough time. He lost his mother this weekend very unexpectedly. And, we're thinking about him a lot right now. You guys know the success that we've gained. We really attribute a lot of that to Jamie. He's just a solid guy. And really want to open that up with giving our hearts out to the Roehrich family right now through this tough time.
Yeah, our hearts are with you for sure. It's never easy. Losing loved ones tests the soul, and it makes us all question things a little bit. So we won't stay on that too long, but it's always good to pay respect. And I love this statement of, celebrating their lives, right? And thinking about all the good times and the values that were learned through the experience of being raised by this person or growing up with this person, whoever you may have lost recently. Everybody's losing somebody all the time. Death is a part of life, and I guess that's what makes it so beautiful, is that it's truly temporary,
Yeah, it is. It doesn't make it easy in the moment, of course, especially when it's something that's very unexpected. It comes at you very quick. But, I think what it reminds us all of is a cliche thing that nobody wants to hear when they're going through a mourning, grieving period, and that is that life is short, and you never know when your time is up. And so it's really important to spend that time with people that, add value to your life, and people, your friends and family, and, really just kind of take it all in, because you never know. You never know when your time is up. I've heard that many times when losses happen, but it's just a good reminder of that. So, not to start off dark and emotional, but that's what we're going through, and we have a lot of love and respect for the Roehrich family, and we're thinking of those guys. Yeah,
absolutely. It's the right thing to do, to put that call out there, and moving forward, but respect to all that, and our hearts are with you. And anybody who's going through that type of situation of losing a loved one, it's never an easy thing to deal with. However, through pain and suffering is how we become solidified within our own personal strengths, and everything is a growing lesson. You can look at problems like they bother you and you want to complain about them, or you can look at problems like they're opportunities to help you grow and become a better individual. I'm on the latter there. I really like the silver lining outlook, and that's where my mind's at. I made a mistake tonight, so this is me, switching the subject. But we had this dude booked, and I straight up forgot to include the guest's email in the invite.
Hey, things happen. We're busy.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot going on. We're doing production. We're doing podcasting, guys. A lot happens behind the scenes when we shut these mics and cameras off, and life comes at us fast. We work our day jobs as well. So, mistakes are going to be made. Things can happen, and it's not the end of the world, right? We're here now. It's episode 162.
You've been so nice to me. I was expecting a little bit of a hard time from Kevin, but he already knew I was beating myself up over this, and it's such a I do logistics, or and so it's detail orientation, and so I'm just come on, man. And so I went through and double checked, and I missed another one too. So I gotta go. I met this guy at a bar.
At least you got that one. You got some time to dial that one in.
Yeah, but you got to double check your work when you realize you made a mistake.
Absolutely.
Now
look, it's not the end of the world. Problems are going to happen. Mistakes are going to be made. That's just a part of being a professional. And if you don't allow yourself to have those mistakes, then it's going to be hard to succeed, right? There's always going to be some failures along the way. We just got to take it on the chin and move forward. It's not the end of the world. We're here now, and we're going to have a great time.
No, but it's fun to. It's more important. Let me change that. Let me rephrase. It's important to recognize when self-improvement is on the table and you have an opportunity to learn from that, right? So you know, I bring it up on the pod right now while we're recording because I'm trying to be humble about it. Like, everybody makes mistakes, right? Like, no one's going to go through life without making a mistake.
Well, no, and it's naive to think that that's even a possibility, right? I mean, I make mistakes every day, all the time, whatever the case may be. Mistakes are going to happen, Art. You know, we're going to make a lot of them. We can gripe about them. We can give each other a hard time about them, which we usually do when we're not, well, even when we are doing this, we still gripe at each other and give each other a hard time. Because
100%.
What good's it going to do sitting here and just, oh, you fucked up and this, that, and the other, rather than saying, look, now we know what to do better next time. Right? Now we know how to change the playbook a little bit. When we send these invites out, we're going to make sure they're dialed in.
That's right.
I mean, that's it. That's all we can do.
That's all we can do. You know, but it's still a beautiful life, beautiful day. Man, I mean, I've been having good things happen personally. I know we've last solo, I was out in Jamaica. Since then, I started a new career with the same company I was at, which is really exciting for me. And you know, the production company, Discussion Combustion Production, has been making some momentum happen as well.
Yeah.
So we have a couple new projects that we've been working on. And real quick shout out, actually, to Jacqueline. You know, because
Jacqueline Rose,
she's a hustler, man.
Yeah.
And she is about to launch her podcast soon, Rose Talks.
Yeah, Rose Talks is coming, guys. I mean, Jacqueline's been in our wheelhouse for a while now. And I'm glad she is, because the work that she does for suicide awareness and horse therapy and all the great things that she does up in Golden, Colorado is just tremendous. You know, it's really cool to be in her wheelhouse and seeing just how hard she works. You know, I think we have at Jacqueline Rose, I think is her socials, but there's some good stuff coming there. And when that podcast launches, we're definitely gonna be, you know, pushing it, promoting it, because we really believe in what she does up there. And it looks really cool too. We're kind of seeing some of the behind the scenes stuff coming. So good for her, man. Yeah,
we're just super excited for that. And, you know, to be able to support people that we believe in their mission and what they're living for, it helps me feel more complete on my days, you know, because it's like, all right, like I could pump the brakes on my life or what, you know, like we try to like make our lives easy. The conscious wants to, you know, make our lives easy on us. But then you see people out there really getting it and working hard, and it's motivating.
Yeah.
You know, like when you see people that don't quit, like they stay in it, that's motivating to me.
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, that's why they say, you know, you want to surround yourself with the kind of people that will challenge you, will motivate you, will push you to be better, rather than, you know, hanging around. We all have, you know, friends in the wheelhouse or family members that will try to bring us down, try to, you know, throw salt in the wounds. It's part of life, right? You're always going to have that balance, that yin and yang, that positive, negative. What I've realized at 33 is, as I've become an entrepreneur and we own this business together and kind of chasing the dreams, the more people I surround myself with that share that success energy. Like we had a great time with Connor Locke last weekend. What a fantastic lad. He's been on the program. His hot sauce is on Hot Ones right now. You surround yourself with people that are making moves and doing great things. It's not a competition, guys. It's really just about sharing those experiences, ideas, feeding off of each other's energy. There's something that's really exciting and inspiring about that.
Well, and talking about moves, you know, Connor, if you're listening to this one, I know you're a busy guy, but I have never seen anyone out there freestyle dancing, cutting a rug like Connor did up in there that night, dude. It was like exotic dancing. It wasn't like your typical dance moves on TikTok or whatever you're watching. Nah, it was like impromptu, like, you know, doing snakes with the body, getting on the knees and stuff. Like, it was pretty epic.
It was a great night, honestly, guys. We really had a good time hanging out with Connor last week. The View House in Centennial is one of our hangouts. If you guys ever want to rub shoulders with us, we do spend some time there. And Connor came out with us, and we did some dancing. You guys have heard me say many times I'm not a good dancer, but I still like to do it. And that's part of it, right? Is just getting out there, doing things that make you maybe uncomfortable, because you know what? I had a great time. I had so much fun, even though I'm not a great dancer. You know what? It doesn't matter. You know, that's not what it's about.
You have rhythm, all right?
I'm a guitar player.
So you at least have rhythm. You might not think you're a good dancer, but the fact is that you can move to the beat, and so it doesn't look bad.
That's good.
You know, maybe you're like just judging yourself really hard.
Well, I mean, I just know, like, you know, as a guitar player, we learn time, right? So keeping the beat going, I think I don't want to say came naturally to me, but once I learned how to play guitar, I was like, okay, I'm always tapping my head as I'm jamming. So translating that to dancing, sure, you know, I know kind of when to do my Jeff Krosky used to say, shout out Jeff if he's listening. He's like, Kev, you look like a hunched over hillbilly when you're doing your dancing. You know, arms up, hunched over, just kind of trying to feel the beat. But you know what? Here's the thing, to echo off the point I was making. I'm having fun out there, and that's what it's about. If you're out there jumping around, you're out of beat, whatever, you're in the beat, it doesn't matter. You're having a good time, and that's what it's about. Forget what these people think, because you know what? The next day, no one's going to remember.
That's true. It's so true, you know, and when you're out there having fun and not judging yourself, right, then people, well, all they see, and even if they're judging you because you're having way more fun than them, right?
That's what it is.
So you just have to have fun.
Yeah, it's like we say on here all the time, right? Your haters are your motivators. People are always going to try to, Paul Roseberry, how many times have I said, pull you down to the floor to make themselves stand taller. Oh, look, this guy over here can't dance, this and that. Well, what are you doing? You know, this person that's making the judgments, what are they doing, right? Oh, my life's so important, right? Going back to that. Come on, guys, tighten up. Have some fun. It's summertime. Get outdoors. Again, 4th of July weekend was great, man. I was so honored to be up there at Mike Patchen's property. You know, he's also been a huge contributor to what we do here. Obviously, you see in the show notes down below, we still promote Mountain Made CBD, and we were just so honored to be there for his 40th birthday. Had a chance to hang out with his wife, Claire. She gave me the tour of the chicken and the roosters. How fun was that, man?
Oh, man, it was such a great time. So the boy's up there. I'm not going to disclose where, but he's up there in the foothills, and just a beautiful property. Cool story about his house, though. So the person that built his house was a World War II vet. After they finished their service, they bought that property and built that house and lived there for a very, very long time until they, you know, had to go to like a nursing home or something. But they had kids and everything too. And so when Mike purchased the property, they had a good relationship. Like they saw eye to eye, right? And so the previous owner felt really good passing along the property to Mike. And Mike's a busy bee. Like he's a busy bee.
You want to talk about an entrepreneur?
Yeah. He stays busy. He stays productive. And so he's done a bunch of like renovations to the house, and unfortunately the original owner, he passed. You know, R.I.P, lived a solid life. And so Mike still stays in touch with the kiddos, or they're not really kiddos though. Now they're adults, probably with children. However,
with the family.
Yeah, with the family. And so he'll send them pictures, and they just love it so much. And it's such a beautiful property. You have a 7 degrees slope. This will stick with me because Mike said it. He's like, living on 7 degrees. He was like saying that, and it stuck with me for some reason. But he has a couple acres out there, and it's just beautiful land. Has chickens, you know. We did axe throwing for his birthday.
So much fun.
We did a water balloon toss. If you're on our Instagram, you probably caught those videos in the story. Man,
I got to feed some horses.
Yeah,
that was really fun.
Feeding the horses.
Anytime I get up there, I really, man, it's. I talk about it a lot when we get out in the countryside. It makes me forget how much I love it, because you know I grew up a country boy.
No, it helps you remember.
Well,
or do you forget that you love?
Sometimes I forget, man, because I get so caught up in this hustle and bustle that we do down here in the city, running around, doing what I do in my day job, getting here, you know, to the tech center. That every time I get up to the country, I'm like, man, this is where I got to be. Yeah. It really just hits that refresh button. It's so nice. It's beautiful. Feeding the horses, that was a lot of fun. There's a video on our IG of me doing that. Just at peace, man. Sometimes you got to, you know, unplug, unwind, redial in, and the country is a great way to do that. So thanks again to Mike for having us up there for his 40th. Hit the nail on the stump, Art. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Stump. I mean, these guys call it stump out here. Back home, it's hit the nail on the stump. And I'll tell you this, I lost. I was not good. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and say I'm good at it just because I knew how to play it or I was familiar with it. I did not do good. In fact, I think I finished 4th out of 4 on our match.
Correct, and I was 2nd, and we got beat by a very talented female.
That's right. I forget her name, but she was very great to talk to.
She was kind of like a hippie girl, like with her, like she had the braids and the hippie vibes, but
she was a nice
super
person.
Awesome. And she actually, when she was throwing the axes, she hit her. She stuck the second axe that she threw.
those were good people. I forget their names right now, but I know they're tuning into the show now.
I think her man's name is Chris because I got his number.
They were at Electric Forest. They were telling us about that, inquired about the podcast. But anyway, the fact remains, great 4th of July weekend. Obviously until I received the news about the Roehrich family, that was kind of a bummer. Again, thinking of you guys. But, celebrating our independence, it's, comes once a year. People lighting off fireworks, having fun, drinking beer. I think it's just good to see after the pandemic people getting back together for these gatherings. No masks, just hanging out, drinking beers, having fun. It's good to see that happening again, man.
Absolutely. And, I feel like the main foundation of what we're talking about, like how good it made us feel going out there and being on the land is it's just really important. Do you need a beer?
Oh, send it. We solo, baby.
Okay, he's getting up. But one of the most important things about what we're talking about is really just getting outside and enjoying this beautiful planet that we live on, right? Because, when we're all stuck inside all the time and we're in front of these screens all the time, like that's not how it's meant to be.
No, it's not. And we talked about that a lot through, before and after the pandemic, obviously. It's there's something about it, we got a little bit comfortable with not doing things, not being outdoors, not going to events. Not everybody has access to go out to the countryside, but hey, just find a nice park, some trees, some water, something with nature in it, which, I just remembered, Art. We left the rocks out there to recharge.
Oh, shit.
So we're going to have to grab those after the podcast. Sarah Christine gave us these.
We have to remember to go get those.
I know exactly where they are, but they're recharging right now, so I'm not worried about it.
Hey, but you know what? If somebody happens to pick those up, like, bless it,
Yeah, exactly. The nature has so much power and so much energy. Again, Sarah Christine, shout out to her. She's out on tour right now. Just exited Denver, got rid of her apartment. She is going to crush it, man. And I'm so excited for her. I know she tunes in. So Sarah, I know we texted a little bit, but good luck out there. I'm so happy for you. So excited. You're taking the bull by the horns and going to do a national tour.
Oh, she's about to. Are you in it? Run it, baby. That's what she's about to do. Nah, she got serious energy and a new lease on life. Like if you haven't heard her story, listen to the episode that she was on. I don't recall what episode number that was, but myself included. I'll just kind of dive into that slightly. But when you've had a tough time in life and maybe you didn't respect yourself fully and you missed out on opportunities and lost a decade doing the wrong things, and then you finally get your shit together, I call that a second lease on life. And it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful when you've been in that like dark cave and then you step out into the light and actually start to experience life how it always has been, right? Like light there's consistencies, and it just kind of makes me wonder though, like if I hadn't gone through all the addiction and treating myself poorly and people I cared about poorly, would I appreciate it the same way that I do now, right?
I mean, that's a pretty tough question to answer, I feel like, right? Because there's so many variables that play into that. Obviously, I think a lot of folks that have overcome addiction kind of share a similar outlook, a similar viewpoint, if you will. I watched a great documentary called Some Kind of Monster with Metallica. Big Metallica fan, guys. I mean, I love country, but Metallica is so great. And just hearing about James Hetfield's story, one of the greatest songwriters, guitar players, rock and roll stars of all time.
I'll agree with that.
And he struggles hard with addiction, depression, and he's super real about it. And I've always respected that about Hetfield. And one of those things this documentary highlights is him going through recovery while still trying to write a record with Lars, with Kirk, while they're bringing in Robert Trujillo, this new bass player. And these guys are still kind of drinking and partying. Hetfield's resetting. He's now sober. And the contrast of those guys writing music and Hetfield's now sober, these guys are still wanting to drink. It was just interesting to see how that flows, because I feel like, in less than 2 years when I'm 35 and I give up drinking, I might kind of feel that experience as well.
Yeah, I mean, the only way that you're going to see success through an experience like that where you're trying to remove a substance or a habit from your life and you're still surrounded by it, is you have to completely turn that corner and like completely turn that corner. And what I mean by that is that your whole mindset has changed, your lifestyle has changed, and you're not the same person that you were before. Because once you realize that you have everything you need naturally, then there's no reason to ever go back on that, right? Like, so with, I mean, I might still fuck around, like I still drink and shit, and like, you know, like I did a Xan not too long ago, like whatever. Maybe a couple Adderall here and there, which every single time I'm like, was that even worth my time? You know what I'm saying? So like, I'll always kind of dabble in the dark, and that's just the lifestyle I lived. But specifically with opiates, I'm good. Like I'm good. I'm good on those, and that is solidified.
That's great, man. No, I know. We touched on that a lot, of course, and I'm glad that you gave it up. You know, I've been there. I've seen you come out of the darkness into the light, change your life around, getting out of debt, paying back the IRS, getting a successful career, doing all the things we do, man. And that's what it takes. I mean, you kind of did hit your rock bottom, right?
Oh, 100%.
And not everybody necessarily hits rock bottom financially, right? We often look at that like all these big stars. I think of Ben Affleck. I think a lot of these guys that have gone through major addiction problems that have been open about it. I mean, they have all the money in the world. It doesn't matter if you have all the money in the world. If you're not mentally dialed in and you're still struggling with addiction, you know, money going to buy you out of that, right? You got to tighten up and figure out what's what. You got to make the decision, right? We've talked about this a lot off air. I know alcohol for me is not going to be good for the long haul. I came from a long line of alcoholism. My dad's been sober a long time, you know, and I feel like I need to make the same choice. It's having physical ramifications on me. You know, I talked to you about it. Preparation H is my hero right now. You know, it's not good on the rear end. I'll just be honest with you. And that's not something I don't want to live that way forever, where it's making me feel ill. Right? You're supposed to drink to socialize and feel good.
Yeah.
It's starting to have physical ramifications on me. I got to tighten up.
Yeah, I mean, the turning point for me was being disappointed in myself. Because no one is going to help you get out of your fucking hole. Like, you have to do it. Like, I don't think interventions work. Like, it's good to be there for somebody and tell them about how you feel, but to just bombard somebody and then be like, you're going to rehab today, I don't know, man. I don't think that's the right approach. And since I'm on this right now, I will be honest about how I feel about AA, that the whole Alcoholics Anonymous program. I think there's a major fallacy in some of the first steps there, and it's either step 1 or 2, but in there they say that you are like helpless basically against this substance. Like, you don't have control over this substance, and I think that's fucking bullshit. If you go into any situation, especially dealing with addictions, and you're telling and affirming to yourself that you do not have control over this addiction and substance, then that's not going to be beneficial long term. And so, look, AA has helped a lot of people. I'm not downing the program, but as far as having positive affirmations and speaking to ourselves in a positive manner, I think that's bullshit. You know, I had my peers and people who held me accountable, and they helped me a lot on my 5-year road to sobriety from opiates. But here's the thing, like, I had to fucking do it. I had to want to do it. So I guess that's how I'm circling back to the point is you do have control over your life. Like, no one has control over your life other than you. And it's hard to look at yourself in the mirror and, you know, tell ourselves like, I'm really fucked up right now. You know, my life is getting away from me, and admitting that, like, you have to admit it. But however long it takes, like I said, 5 years, it took me a long time of lying and like being like, I would straight up be texting my hook like, hey, do you got this? And like, I would be questioning, texting them before I even texted them, like, should I be doing this right now? I know I shouldn't, but then I would still text them like an idiot. And then I would, you know, grab my ex-girlfriend's whip, because I was whipless at the time. I had no car. And I would then take her car to go get it and lie to her about what I'm doing. Like, I was just disappointed in myself through that entire transaction. I did that for like 5 years. And then eventually it just ended. And I was like, no, I'm good. And then actually opiates didn't feel good anymore, because I was so riddled with disappointment, self-disappointment. And it's like, when do you reach your limit of disappointing yourself? So I feel like that's one of the first steps, acknowledging it. And, you know, we won't stay on the subject the entire time, but it's a solo. It's good to get into some serious stuff. And, yeah, I haven't even been off opiates for 24 months. And I can't even put it in the words how much different my life is now, for all the better reasons. Less than 2 years after working hard and trying, and it's just like, I'm thankful, bro. And so how we got started, I'm living that second lease on life. Anybody out there struggling, you can make it through. You can make it through the long, cold, hard road, and you have to travel that. And it's not a long, cold, hard road.
Something we talk about a lot is that long, cold, hard road, and that carries a lot of meanings, right? Because everybody's dealing with different circumstances, addictions, you know, hard times, whatever it is, right? There's a lot of different meanings behind the long, cold, hard road. But, you know, to wrap up addiction, you know, I know, like I said, my father, he overcame it. You know, Nick Downs, I know he's a big listener of this program. He's a big sponsor for those guys. And I think I look at it a little bit like I look at diet programs a bit. And you have to figure out what works best for you, right, for your addiction recovery, because you gotta utilize the system that best fits your needs and what you need. But to echo off your point, that can't happen, and that's why I also agree with your point about interventions. I think interventions are a good starting point, but I think that until that individual goes, hey man, I need to make a change, right? We talk about this a lot off air. When I was 27 years old, I said I'm not drinking anymore after I'm 35. Because I know the physical ramifications and the mental ramifications. I don't want it, right? We have fun. Obviously, we have to be responsible here. Not making it sound like it's a complete drunk fest, but it's just one of those things that really doesn't add a lot of value. It can be very physically, you know, have a lot of physical impacts, things of that nature. So making those decisions for that reason makes sense. But each individual has to analyze to themselves, hey, I don't want to use this substance anymore because of this reason or that reason. And then they reach out for help and they get themselves around the right people. And I think I learned in the show intervention that 85% of people rebound.
Dude, I rebounded for fucking 5 years
exactly.
straight.
I mean, that's part of it.
So actually, when I was sitting outside, beating myself up for not sending the guest invite properly, I was just sitting there thinking about mistakes, right? Like, we all make them. But what does a mistake mean to me? And I was thinking about that because I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it's going to happen, but you have to keep on moving. And this is actually a Clint Gershenson, one of our best friends. He was the one that was telling me this stuff, man, because he was like, you know, I was telling him about like, I'm trying, you know, and this and that. And like, it was probably like late 2019 where I was like maybe doing opiates like once a month. And I was actually getting like, you know, 3 to 4 weeks off in between usage. And, you know, I was starting to realize that I didn't really need it. And I was just being honest with him about that. And, you know, he was telling me, he's like, dude, like, you didn't fail. Like, just keep going. It's okay if you messed up. Like, that doesn't mean that you're back to square one. That doesn't mean you're back to square one.
No.
And once I kind of like really absorbed that way of thinking, it did change how I treated myself through, you know, the process of helping myself, because it's easy to be like, oh, you know, I haven't done it in 3 months or whatever. And now I was weak and did it. So fuck, I'm back to square one now. Now I'm at 0. No, how about you did it for 2 months, you fucked up, but now you get back on your horse and keep riding. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's all about how you choose. And we do have the power to choose how we look at things, but sometimes, unless if we're aware of that, then the subconscious is just going to roll with it, and we might beat ourselves up over that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you brought up a couple of good points, because you said, okay, it's been 3 months, I can do it. The mind will always talk you into a reason to want to, you know, alter your sobriety, right? There's a reason, oh, it was a hard day. Smokers do it. I think most commonly I see nicotine users, specifically smokers. I know that commodity's changed a little bit with the vapes and the pouches and shit now. But I feel like smokers definitely set that ground. Oh, I can't quit smoking because I'm going through this right now. It's just going to have to wait. There's always that excuse, right? Everybody uses it. I've used it. I come here, I'm like, man, it's been a fucked up day. I'm stressed out. We got a podcast to do. I got to slam a couple beers, right?
Yeah.
What is that? That's an excuse. I don't need the goddamn Bud Light, even though it's delicious, and we love you, Bud Light. Appreciate you. I don't need it to you know, be at my best. I don't need it. But it's a nice way to unwind. Look, I work in the alcohol business. I understand how all this works. It's a huge commodity. It's not going anywhere. And there's nothing wrong with responsible recreational use, right? We're obviously very 420 friendly as well here. But even that can be, you know, something that can get out of line, right? That's not something that should be utilized 24/7, right? I mean, it's all about the balance and what works for you, and using it as everything in moderation. I think is what kind of where my mind goes when I analyze some of the usage that I see around me.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like everyone has the power within them. Like, everyone has the ability to overcome or accomplish whatever they want. But there's one key component to all of this. It's not I'm doing it for 2 weeks thing. It's not that I'm doing this for 3 months right now. I'm gonna go a year. No, it's not about that. It's about until you die. And what that means is that you're making a lifestyle change, and that means that you're going to be consistent. You're going to do this consistently. And in a lot of ways, that could be a huge commitment, right? And like, oh, but maybe don't, you know, I don't know. They say look at it one day at a time. Like, you know, today, I'm just going to not drink today. But, you know, that's in the early phases, right? But once you break that barrier of, I don't even want this shit anymore. Yeah. I feel so much better without this substance. That's when it really solidifies. And look, I mean, we're just going to dive into this a little bit. You know, it's a solo, and so we could get personal. I got a lot of feelings about overcoming addictions, and one of the toughest things for me was once I was really trying to be substance free on what was holding me back. There was a time period where I could not, like, life was gray, right? Like, my emotions were gray. It could be a beautiful day outside. Life was gray. And so I feel like whatever you're doing, whatever you're getting over, a relationship, substance abuse, a horrible working situation, or whatever, there's going to be a period of time where it's a little mundane. And you want to fall back into your old ways because you know whatever that is, maybe it's a ex that you fuck that, like, you know it's no good for you, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And you have to go through that mundane period. You have to see it through, and you have to get through the gray, because then once you sign that second lease on life, man, the colors, the emotional input is so vibrant, bro. Like, I get brought to tears sometimes. Like, even right now, I'm, like, getting a little, because it's like, how was I missing all this before? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, again, it goes back to what we talk about. You know, kind of, I don't like to, failing to succeed is a very, very surface level way to describe it, because everybody's going to have varying definitions of what that means to them. But, you know, we talk about rock bottom, you know, and I know what my dad went through, and I know what a lot of folks around me have been through, close friends, you know, they've overcome this stuff, including yourself. You know, it really takes that person. No one's going to tell you, I feel like. We've heard all this shit time and time again. It's just annoying to a lot of these folks because they just want to be left alone, and they just want to be okay with the substances that they choose to abuse, and don't mind me, I'm fine, I got this. What do you mean you can notice that I'm fucked up? All that's going to be part of it, right?
Yeah.
People start going, man, I'm concerned about you. And they get defensive, right? That's going to be the natural instinct. I'd be the same way if someone came at me and said, Cowboy, I think you're drinking too much. You need to tighten up. And my natural reaction is to be defensive. So I also understand that approach as well. But, man, you know, we say it all the time. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And that's why I think piggybacking off the intervention piece is not as effective as it probably should be. I think there is times where people realize, hey, maybe I should tighten up. But are you doing it for you, or are you doing it for the people in the room? And that's the big difference, right?
That's an important question.
It's an important question, because if you want to make a life change, you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for somebody else. And that also spills over into relationships. It spills over into friendships and family relationships. Be you, 100% wholesome all the time. You know, speak your mind. Because I feel like that's going to be, and, you know, we all talk about, oh, we got to be buttoned up at the Thanksgiving dinner, you know, this and that. And I understand that. Playing nice in the sandbox is a part of it. Mm-hmm. But putting it out there 100% raw, is, I think, always going to yield more results in the long haul, because now you're starting to filter out the nonsense from what you want in your life. This is what I want. Because what you put out, you attract. Right?
That's true.
And the way you approach this life is the way that your life is going to start to develop, right? So if you surround yourself with this negativity and this drug use and this alcohol influence brutality, as Zach Wilde would say, who's also now sober, then that's what you're going to get, right? And there's a balance. We can't forget about the balance. We're not saying that 100% across the board you got to be straight edge razor, because I know I'm not at this time capable of doing that. I like to lean on a little bit of alcohol use. Mm-hmm. You know, we work hard. We work hard 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, morning to night. Am I making excuses? I don't know. But we show up, we get the job done, right? And it's okay to have a little fun with that.
You know, anything in moderation, I guess, as the saying goes. But I'm going to talk about one more important philosophy piece that I had to overcoming addiction. And this is at the point where you're turning the corner. Right? Like you're done with that substance, or you're done with that abuse, and you're done with that. But generally, whenever you have, like, you're sucked into something or you're addicted to it, you spent a lot of mental energy on it. You've spent time looking forward to whatever it is, and it's a keystone in your personality, right? So, like, you're removing a pillar of who you were, and there is a void there. Depending on whatever you did, the void might be bigger or smaller, but that's kind of the gray that I'm talking about too, like the mundane. Because when I removed opiates from my life, like, look, I used to look forward to buying them. I used to, like, plan out my money and, like, okay, I got to make sure I at least have $120 so I could, you know, spend 110 on pills, and then, you know, maybe have $10 left over for, like, Mickey D's, or like $7 in gas or some shit. Like, you know, I was planning it out. I was looking forward to it. I was, you know, and so once you remove that, then you have all this empty energy that you used to expel doing something. And I call that the void. And it's really important to kind of, for me, it was really important to understand and, like, get this concept down, because I have to start filling this void in, or else I'm going to feel empty, you know? And so, sure, some bad things came into the void that I was filling in. Like, you know, I drank a little bit more. For a while, I was snacking heavily at night. Like, I was gaining weight and shit. And I feel like I'm coming down off that through consistency. But beside the point, you know, whatever you fill the void in with, you know, try to make it productive. You know, like vacuuming or keeping my room tidy. Like, those are healthy things I filled in the void with. Walking every single day, doing push-ups every single day, keeping myself busy, you know, and that's how I filled in the void, and I feel so much more complete now that I found other things to look forward to, because you're gonna have to find something else to look forward to. Well,
and you have to reprogram the way that the dopamine release works, right? And this can go one of two ways, because I see a lot of folks get sober, and usually the most common addiction that then develops from there is either caffeine or sugar. Because they're feeling a high dopamine release from both of those. Now, this could also bleed into other things. It can bleed into the dopamine release from social media, what we've talked about. It can bleed into porn addiction, which I've talked about. And a lot of those things seem okay in our minds, but they also can really start to impact some of our other social areas of life. So, sure, I think it's fair to say that we need to lean on a crutch, right? We're coming off this, leaning on alcohol. When I get off alcohol, I'm probably going to lean on marijuana. You know what I mean? So that's just part of the process, I feel like. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I have a lot of respect for people that can 100% cold turkey just say I'm substance free, like Steve-O did. Steve-O did a good job with that. But even Steve-O talks about now he's a sex addict. The mind, when you're
filling in the void,
the mind, when you have that dopamine addiction, you have to get it somewhere. Whether that's jumping out of an airplane with no parachute, doing sex, doing porn, whatever it is, the mind's going to go somewhere, and that's just something that we got to grapple with and figure out how do we contain that.
Yeah, and so whatever. I mean, everyone's trying to overcome something in their lives, right? Like, if you're sitting here like saying that your life's all peaches and cream, like really critique it, and if that's true, then I hope you're a very selfless person that's giving back to society. Because once you've reached that point of, I've broken my own chains and I have an emotional freedom that I have never experienced before, I would be so selfish to not share that with society. Like, I give so much love to people when I just meet them in the streets, and just sharing the love, man, and even opening up on this podcast, and just being real about it, man, because the void is going to exist. That's a fucking thing. And so, whatever you're trying to overcome, you're capable, and just do your best to fill in the void with the right things. And it's okay if a couple bad things slip in there. That's all right. Like we were talking at the beginning, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to flub and fuck up occasionally. Look, if you trip, just, take the bruise on the knee and get the fuck back up and keep going.
Well, yeah. I mean, fall down 7 times, get up 8, whatever the case may be. It's hard. It's not easy to do. I've struggled with it for years. You really have to be in that right mindset. But I think we're hitting on some good points here, and I think that it can really resonate. And it's good for me to reiterate these things, because if I'm saying these things, I need to be practicing these things. I'm not just here to spew bullshit, right?
It's easy to talk.
It's easy to talk. I mean, you talk the talk, walk the walk, whatever the old saying is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the fact remains, I think, is just really taking a step back, evaluating, where am I at right now? Am I happy? What can I improve on? What are the things that bring joy to my life? Who are the people I want to spend my time with? What do I want to do with my free time? I think those 5 points right there, if you can really get a checklist going of how can I make those improvements? Because everybody has time to improve, Art, right? We talk about this all. You're never done. No matter what goals you want to accomplish and the boxes that you check as life goes on, you bought the house, you got the car, you got the family, you got the white picket fence, all that stuff. That doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. And that's why I think a lot of folks that do get to that point end up very depressed. They end up doing cheating. They end up doing drugs, whatever, because they're searching for that new high, right? Because this whole time they focused on, this is going to lead me to the light. This is the ultimate end all be all. If I can just get this, and this, that's it. But we've talked about this. We know that's nonsense. You have to have more personal goals for yourself. You got to keep learning. You got to keep challenging yourself, because the day that we stop learning is the day we start to die, right? And I truly believe that, mentally speaking. Physically, that's different. But if we're not challenging ourselves, and we're not evolving, and we're not challenging ourselves to new opportunities, and maybe putting ourselves in uncomfortable situations, then what the hell are we doing? This complacency, nonsense. Get that out of here. Make the right decisions for you. I'm not saying you got to go out there and run for president and change the world. Just change yourself. Challenge yourself. What can I do better tomorrow?
Yeah, and I mean, look, I love this episode right now, man. This one was meant to happen. It's good to really open it up, and I mean, because I haven't had a conversation like this where I really dived into kind of the steps that I had to go to get to where I'm at now, and it hits me in the feels, bro, because it was not that long ago, right? 2 years. That goes by quick, and it means a lot, and it really does mean a lot, and not just to me, to my peers, my family, okay, I can do this. I could do this. Look, just don't be afraid, right? Be brave. Like, if you're struggling and you're really going through that, like, it's time to step up to the motherfucking plate. Like, we all know when we're doing the wrong things, man. Like, we know. You know. Deep down. You know. And no one is ever going to be able to make an impact in your life like you can. And I'm walking proof of that. And I want to stay humble about that because it was a struggle. So it feels good to open up like this on the pod and share this, man.
No, I mean, we need these every once again. You know, we get so bogged down with doing what we do. And, you know, this show is always built on, you know, being real, trust, honesty, all that. And this is a free place to talk about whatever's going on. And this is what we deal with, guys. You know, we're not afraid to put it all out there. That's part of the reason why we started this project, because I think we need it now more than ever. People are struggling, and you're not alone. Yeah. You are not alone. Whatever you're going through, there's someone else dealing with it just as bad, maybe worse than you are. And it's not the end all be all, guys. It just isn't. You know, I know as you're laying there in bed scrolling the screens and feeling down, the sun will come up tomorrow, and there's a new opportunity, a new day to make a change. It doesn't have to be drastic. Just make a change. You know, really evaluate where you're at. I'm saying this to myself too. You know, I'm going through a tough time. I went through a very difficult breakup. You know, shit's been tough. I made very, very difficult life changes. Had to make some hard decisions. My friends are struggling. You know, shit's tough right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, your boys in the studio right here getting real. Like, we're both on the brink of tears on this episode, but it's not like I'm not crying because I'm sad. I'm just crying because the shit hits real. This shit's real. Look, like, people will take their own lives over this type of shit, bro. And, like, fuck, dog. To be solidified and, like, solidified in yourself and, like, it's just not easy. And it's not meant to be. Since we're born, since we're infants and we come out, bro, our whole body, our immune system is doing everything it can to help us survive. Like, we fight until the end, and that's a valiant effort. Like, just don't give up, you know? Like, if you're struggling, then fucking buck up and deal with the pain, because this is a brick house, and the only way you're gonna build it up is brick by brick. And so just stay consistent. I mean, I don't know, man. I could go on a long rant about this and probably, you know, I got a lot of emotions that I'm holding in, and I could probably just cry on the pod again, you know, because this is our weekly therapy session. Yeah. But no, this is real, man. This is real. And just, if you're going through pain, then digest that, like, whatever it is, you know. You're better than your circumstances.
Yeah, you got to feel. You know, I think I was telling Art this off mic throughout the week, is like, you know, I stay so busy, I don't know if I've had time to feel and really evaluate the shit that I've been going through these past few weeks, and the things that I've worked on for years and years and years. It's okay to evaluate. Hey, man, you know, am I dialed in right now? Am I okay? You know, and it's okay to reach out for help too. You know, I'm an avid supporter. I'm in therapy for most of my adult life. I have reached out for some form or fashion of help, and it's okay to do that. There's so many resources to do that. You don't even need to leave your house. You know, so I think that a lot of folks get embarrassed or concerned, or that makes them feel weak if they feel like that you know, they want to be honest about their emotions, or maybe they need help with it. You're not weak, you're strong, because you're diving in and saying, hey man, something ain't right, I want to tighten this up. When you want to make adjustments on yourself, that's strength, that ain't weakness. You know, forget that bullshit. You know, the society norms now of these perfect expectations, it's ridiculous. And I think that's why we've seen the mental health problems that we've seen, and we've seen some of the issues that continue to develop, is because people are so conditioned to not sit here and talk about the shit that we're talking about right now. This is real. And there's a lot of people going through it, and you are not alone.
No. Everyone hurts, bro. Every single person is going through something. Every single person, man. And so with a heavy heart, you know, but also an optimistic mind, A heavy heart and an optimistic mind is how I'm trying to approach this tonight, because, you know, I'm so fortunate right now to be in the position I'm in and like be emotionally stable and still have like my libido working and sex drive. Like, look, opiates could have completely fucked me, bro. They kind of did, but that wasn't a forever thing. And it's a responsibility at this point to share the struggle, right? Because like you were just saying, a lot, like, people are afraid to expose themselves. And why are we afraid to expose ourselves? Like, who cares what anybody else thinks? Like, at this point in my life, I'm doing me 100%. And I know we're getting super emotional on here, but it feels so good to like be like, nah, I made a promise to myself, and I'm gonna fulfill that because I actually respect myself. So I feel like that's the biggest thing is be honest with yourself. Are you respecting yourself? Like, are you truly respecting yourself? And if you're not, then it's time to look at yourself in a better light. Like, sure, you might fuck up. Like, sure, you fucked up. You did wrong. Like, I lied. I stole. Like, I did all the shitty shit. But, like, that doesn't mean that that's who I am right now. And, like, anybody who doesn't know all this stuff, it's like, oh, shit, like, maybe there's a reason why this success is happening. And it's happening because consistency and just being real, man. Like, you know, we're putting this out there, bro. We're getting real. Tears are definitely, like, I got the levees holding it back right now a little bit, man, because this is serious shit.
Look, I've been dealing with levees for months, man. You know, Bill Burr says it. One of my favorite ways he describes it is just, man, men need like a crying room to get it out. And I'll tell you this, you know, Sunday night I needed to get it out. I've had so much built up emotion, you know, with my breakup, and then with Jamie losing his mother, and just all these things that keep coming at us. It's like, man, enough's enough, you know. But this is life. This is real shit. And I think that it reminded myself that I need to feel and not numb out, because it's easier to just stay busy and stay focused. And I'm honed in on this. I've got my blinders on. You know, I'm gonna drink a couple beers so I can eliminate some of the pain. But it was just nice to sit down and fucking let it out, because you let that shit build up, and who knows what's gonna happen. And don't be afraid to do it. You know, it's okay. You've actually taught me, you know, the modern man thing. You know, I believe it's okay for men to cry. You know, because it's important to feel. And if you can't feel, then how do you know what's going on? Are you just playing a character? Are you just pushing it down the levees? I know you're speaking my language. I hold shit back for years, and that's usually where it came out in anger.
Yeah.
You know?
Shit, man, the glasses had to come off on this one for me, bro. To all the listeners, I'm just going to do this one like this. Respect. I mean, fully. I mean, we would still be showing up regardless, because this fulfills us, and we have a great time in here. But we've heard some of the stories, and we're so grateful for any of those of you who has shared some of your struggles. And I mean, that keeps me coming back, bro. And that's why I want to share these stories of the major struggle that I dealt with in my life so far. And I know I got more to come. But what I've done in less than 24 months of kicking that shit, turning the corner, like, you could do it too. And you're going to be living on this second lease on life. Like, and even if you're not in that situation, you just support us, like, you know, all I could be is grateful and humble by it. I mean, I'm a breakdown, dog.
Yeah, it's
you know,
it's just kind of one of those weeks, guys. You know, again, we stay real here. This is real emotions. This is no bullshit. We're not playing characters here. This is Kevin Batson and Arthur Raw. This is what you get. You know, when we have a guest across the table, where obviously we're buttoned up. We're talking about what they're going through, what they're promoting, of course. But this is real stuff, guys. I mean, this is the way it goes. And this is part of the reason why we got into this, is being real and sharing these things, because we need it now more than ever. And no, look, I think that's great, Art. I think the amount of lives that you know, are impacted by your stories that you share, and the great mail that we receive about people listening to this program and changing their lives, it's incredible. I never once thought in a million years when we started this thing on a cell phone that we would be receiving, you know, just incredible messages about how we impact people. Of course, we receive negative as well, but guys, that's part of it. You're always going to have the good and the bad. What do you want to focus on? We focus on the bad, then it's like, well, what are we doing? You focus on the good, keeps us coming back, keeps us excited, keeps it real, and that's never going to change.
No, it's never going to change, man. You know, we like to we had a lot of advice for humanity on this one. I feel like, you know, it's hard to conclude one like this, but just keep fighting the good fight. And the only good fight left is the fight that you do for your own personal happiness. Like, no one knows what goals you want to accomplish other than you. Like, no one sets these rules for success other than you. Like, we don't have time to sit here and judge our success against other people's successes. What's your definition of success? Like, what is it? And like, just go out there and fucking pursue it. And guess what? It's not gonna be an easy thing to do. Like, you might have to try to pursue that for years, you know, but that's fucking worth it. That's worth it.
Actively pursuing your purpose and things that inspire you, I've heard, can add years to your life, because you now have a sense of purpose and a mission and a drive. Actively pursuing that, guys, can improve your health. It's unbelievable. I'm feeling it right now. You know, shout out Coach Corey Wayne for changing my life. There's plenty of people that are going to impact your lives, you know, and focus on that. You know, really focus on it. You know, what can you do to better yourself tomorrow? What do you want to do next week? Like we say, take it one day at a time, of course, but you know, let's lay out the roadmap for where this thing's going. And I'll tell you this, man, the roadmap is looking good. We got a lot of stops to make. We got a lot of visits to have. And, you know, to quote our good friend Amy Lewis, she says, you know, the trouble is, or the problem is, we think we have time. Time goes quick. I'm seeing that. I turned 33 years old. That shit went by quick. This thing's ripping tater chip, and there is no time to mess around. You know, you got to have time to unwind and relax, but it's time to get back to work. It's time to focus on yourself, your mission, your drive, your purpose. And, man, we're in this thing together. No one's out there alone. You know, if you're listening, I don't care where you are always welcome to reach out. Art and I will always take time to talk to you, and that's a promise we can make for the long haul.
Discussioncombustion@gmail.com is the best way. Both of us read those emails. The time's right now. All right? Like, making excuses is weak. All right? It's time to... If you're sitting here making excuses to why you're fucking up, then you're fucking up by making excuses. All right? Like there's no pussyfooting around this shit. Like, you really want to get beaten down by this life? Well, guess what? You already have. So are you about ready to fight back? I mean, look, I expose myself on here. I'm vulnerable on here and in the streets. But I know deep down that I'm a fucking beast and a monster, and I will dominate. However, I dominated myself for too many years. I wasted too much time. In less than 24 months, everything I've accomplished, I can't even fucking believe it. Anybody can do this. The time is right the fuck now, and it's time to get difficult right now. It's not ever going to get easier being complacent. It's never going to happen. So it's time to fucking buck up, bro. And like, I still got shit I got to do. I still got things I got to get better at. Like, sure, I kicked one habit. I got a couple 3 more dirties that I got to fucking clean up. And I'm ready to do it. And I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to expose myself. I'll cry on this. I'll get furious on this. But be a monster and be a beast. Because when you have that strength and you have that self-confidence that I'll fuck this game up if I really go hard, then start fucking it up. But be humble. Be humble about that. Because no one likes a cocky fuck. No one likes those people who like are talking about all the time. Like, just be humble. Just be successful and be humble about your success. And that's how we can make an impact. Look, life is temporary. As we open up this episode, showing mad love. And life's temporary. So just share the wealth of, you know, share the wealth of knowledge, right?
Yeah, solid closer, Art. Couldn't agree more. You know, just keep this ball moving forward. You know, don't be complacent. Really look at yourself. Where can I improve? I think that's a great takeaway from this app, because these challenges are not going to stop. There's going to be more to overcome. There's going to be another bump in the log. There's going to be another fork in the road. There's going to be another detour to take. It's just never done. The work's never done. And I think that's a thing that I've learned as I've gotten older, right? You see, like, man, I'm crushing it right now. Well, guess what? Now I got another thing I got to overcome. Good. As Jocko Willink would say, good. Because now I have an opportunity to learn. I have an opportunity to get better. And that's the mindset that I'm trying to be in. And it's not an easy mindset to stay in, because it's easy to get sidetracked and you get pulled into the nonsense and all the shit we just talked about for the last hour, guys. But I think you know what we're saying. We're going to wrap this one up. This was a real episode, Art. You know I love you, brother.
Oh, man, I love you too, man.
We're going to keep doing this thing, guys. We're going to keep these wheels moving. Discussion Combustion Podcast. You can count on us weekly. We ain't going anywhere. And in fact, we have a great guest joining us next week, Willie B, right here in Denver, Colorado. You've heard him, 107.9 KBPI. He's been in the scene a long time. Really excited to sit down with him, Art, and kind of talk some cars, some music, and pick his brain a little bit. So that's coming your way next week. And this has been a fun episode. Well, I don't want to say fun, but
no, this has been a real episode. Real episode.
But you know what real is?
Real.
Real is what we need.
It is, and that's why we podcast. Whatever you're going through, I believe in you. You can do this. Let's fucking go.
Guys, you got to be good to yourselves. You deserve it. Everybody deserves it. We'll see you soon.